there, and welcome to Daemon X Machina Titanic Scion, the demo. Progress carries over from the demo, so I figured I would record everything that I could. I completed everything that the demo has to offer, and reached a point where I literally couldn't level up anymore, I couldn't progress anymore. You won't see all of that in this recording because there was just too much footage. I think I ended up playing it for about 6 hours, so I'm going to heavily edit this down. But we'll let sort of the tutorial stuff play out a little bit because I kind of want you guys to get a sense of the pacing of the start of the game. This bit, for example, I believe this title is somewhat of a sequel to one that came before. So I'm guessing that this paragraph at the beginning, or this short story at the beginning, is just filling you in on all the gaps. I got to be honest with you, this did sort of drag on for a little bit longer than I would have liked, but I understand it's kind of a necessary evil, so it's whatever. I figured I'd let it play out anyways in this recording, just so you guys could get a rough idea of the background for the world that this game is set in. The setup seems to be very like Gundam inspired, I would say, more than anything. It's like, different planets trying to colonize and wars breaking out, uneasy treaties, and then there's like a weird mutation that happens that creates these essentially superhumans. And as the player, you play as one of these superhuman characters. You kind of have a big affinity for piloting these mech suits, and as a result, you end up caught in the middle of all of this absolute nonsense that's going on in the galaxy.
Commencing link procedure to the Garden Defense Terminal, Centurion.
And this brings us to here, character creation. Yeah, you get to create your own mech pilot, who you do actually get to control and walk around as whenever you're in your hangar of your base. So it's not just like a one-time thing that you get to see them and then they never show up again. They show up in cutscenes, they show up in the base and things like that. You can actually choose to hide your mech armor as well to show off your character. What I'm going through here is the presets, but you can actually get like a large amount of customization. I'm probably going to edit around a little bit just to show you like just different bits of said customization, rather than show you the entire process of me creating my character because it takes me a moment. So I was actually really impressed with the character customization options, to be honest with you, and I didn't actually look at everything, even unedited. You would have seen me miss stuff. I do go back to it because you can recustomize your character whenever you want for free, which is really, really nice. There's literally just a terminal at your base. You walk up to it, and yeah, you can recustomize. I'm actually going to let this cutscene play out, so catch you in a sec.
Did you find the Alpha? Keep your hands off the children.
No one can survive this. Not here either. You're quite the looker, if I may say so myself. You'll make a perfect Centurion. Your skills, abilities, reflexes, all exceptional. It took extensive research to find that an outer's nervous system surpasses any other kind as an order transmission unit. Yes, you will join the Eternal Guardians of the Garden. I've got you! What do you think you're... You okay? What's happening? On your feet. You're catching up. My body won't cooperate. Pick it up! Come on! Turns out Centurions are like computer terminals, and to them, we're nothing more than spare parts. They don't want you, just your brain and nervous system so they can connect directly to the suit. Your memories, agency, gone. Are you serious? Yeah. Then they extract genes and nerves from the best of the Centurions and implant them into others to beef them up. Our memories and feelings are just trash. You're kidding. Nope. You were this close to losing what makes you, you. We're headed for the ground. We can't stay here in the garden. Not now that we're traitors. You good?
So yeah, I was actually really impressed with the quality of cutscene. It could be a little juddery and a little bit awkward looking here and there, but the voice acting's decent, and it seems to mostly be fully voiced as you're playing as well, which is really, really nice. In the tutorial, you get to choose between whether you want to start as like a medium or a light mech. There are plenty of build options, and this choice doesn't really affect much, so don't worry about it. Literally just pick whatever you think looks cool. You can change it later. Yeah, honestly, I was quite impressed with pretty much everything about the game so far. I think like the way it looks, the way it sounds, the amount of customization on offer as an introduction is really, really good, and I couldn't wait to just sort of get in and play the game. For me, I think this is maybe where the game struggles a little bit at the beginning. The tutorialing is a little bit meh. A lot of the bottom prompts are kind of just very background, and I did miss a lot of things as I was playing through. It wasn't until many hours later that I actually realised I could do certain things in the game, and these were very basic things that I kind of wish that the game had have thrown in my face a little bit more. I would also say, contrasting to that, the tutorial actually also feels very limiting. It doesn't really display what this game is capable of. Some of the set piece stuff is nice, but yeah, I kind of felt like it was holding the player back a little bit too much while simultaneously not really telling them enough, which is a shame. The actual story part of all of this is very, very cool, though. I really like the design on this dude's mech. Like, he hasn't shown up again yet. He doesn't show up again in the demo, should I say. So I don't know too much about him, but he seems pretty badass. And yeah, you'll probably see me struggle with the controls quite a lot throughout the gameplay that you see here. After I stop recording, I do actually sit down and properly learn everything, and it does become more fluid. And I will say that once you get used to how it controls, the game actually does feel very good. So I would say like what you're watching here is probably a little bit more awkward looking than the game actually is. It's just my inexperience is kind of the problem here. I definitely found it to be a lot more fun once I properly knew what I was doing. Like, for example, I wanted to try and change my equipment and things like that, and I couldn't quite figure out how to do it in the tutorial. Turns out you can't really change your equipment too much in the tutorial. You can kind of replace parts off of enemies that you kill, but you don't keep any of it really, so it doesn't really matter all that much. The game doesn't really tell you this, which is kind of frustrating, so I thought I was just missing something. This little section as well, like, it's kind of cinematic, I guess, but it also didn't really tell me that I was supposed to be shooting stuff, and I wasn't really too sure, like, what my aim was outside of just sort of, like, letting the game take me to where it wants me to go. I'm pretty sure that I couldn't die in this section either, so it felt a little bit off. But honestly, like, I think this is probably the worst bit of my experience with the demo. I think it gets better the further this gameplay goes on. And I think in terms of just setting like a cinematic moment, I guess this kind of serves its purpose. So, something that you might be seeing, I don't know if you can make it out, but there's like a little red reticule that's appearing around stuff. This is kind of like the game's soft aim kind of thing, so if you're loosely aiming at a target, it will shoot at that target, even if your crosshair isn't directly on it. This is basically to assist you when you're fighting like, you know, mobile mechs and things like that, as far as I can tell, or like, you know, flying beasts that are like super fast. And it works really well actually. I think there's like some moments where it's a bit inaccurate, but I think that's kind of by design.
Feels like this has happened before. You remember when our dogs went missing from the orphanage? Lop and Curl?
Oh yeah. I'm not chasing anymore.
Yep. Right when you were supposed to be looking for the dogs.
Came to my rescue back then too.
We're almost at the hangar. Come on.
One thing I noticed is there's like quite a lot going on in all of the combat in the early stages. Like you have an AI partner with you obviously, and he kind of does a lot of the work for you, which can lead to an almost like disorientating experience, I found. Like I'd be fighting something and then that thing would just be like instantly dead and I'd kind of not really know what was going on kind of thing. Or like I didn't feel like I had too much impact on what was going on during the tutorial. It felt very like I was just being led. And again, I think like the game kind of opens up once you get out of here, of course. So again, I try not to judge it too harshly.
Hurry! They're gaining on us! Take that! Take it! Leave some for me!
Something kind of hilarious about this little bit of the tutorial fight is there's the giant mech that shows up, and I actually didn't realize that I was supposed to run away from it. I actually wound up trying to kill this thing for a good 10 minutes. I got its health down, and it turns out that like at a certain point you just can't take its health down anymore. So I was just wailing on this thing, and its health wasn't budging. And then I realized that the co-op partner was like, hey, we should be running away, kind of thing. And I should have just listened to the NPC. But yeah, it's an embarrassingly long time, but I end up fighting this guy. For the record, if his health bar did go all the way down to the bottom, I would have won, you know? Just saying.
What are you doing? It's this way! Let's use these things and take them out. Ready?
fast forward a little bit and we get to this like little turret section. In terms of actual gameplay, I think this was another one of my like least favorite sections. I will say like when you're on the turret, the like impact of the bullets isn't too great, and I'm kind of hoping there aren't too many more of these little turret sections throughout the game. The idea is you're supposed to be holding off this like unstoppable force of robots, and it doesn't quite hit the mark, I don't think. Like, I got the idea and I got what it was trying to do, but it didn't feel great. And also the fact that anytime an explosion like hits you, you kind of have to like reset and get back on. That's, yeah, not the best feeling. I wouldn't like to see too many more of these show up, but who knows? Who knows how it's going to go? I mean, throughout the rest of my time in the demo, there isn't another one of these, so maybe we're good.
That'll give us a bit of a break.
Where's the chief? And everyone else?
I don't know. I only had a chance to look for you.
How'd you get away?
Faulty connection in my suit kept him from finishing the job. Good karma for all my good deeds.
Good deeds my ass. You didn't do anything special. You're just a lucky son of a bitch. Fire! Incoming!
What now, partner?
I'll take him.
Be my guest? Be careful! More! I need more! Now! Overclock output! Limit change! Piece of junk!
Nerve! Stop!
I'm buying you a little time. Get it?
Nerve! Just run!
Go!
Commencing catapult launch sequence.
What the?
Go, goddammit!
Safety mechanism released. Engaging boosters.
Wait! Abort! Nerve!
I'll be right behind you after I beat this guy. Now go!
Get away! Nerve!
All functions normal. Commencing ejection.
Nerve! Damn it! I'm coming back! I'm not letting you die! Nerve! Hang in there!
And that concludes the tutorial portion of the game. I thought it was like an okay tutorial. As I said earlier, I think it's probably the worst bit of the game. I think once you get out of the tutorial and into the open world, things feel a lot better. What you're going to see now is basically just a highly cut down, highly edited compilation, I guess, of cutscenes, gameplay, and menu navigation, I guess, of me just playing the game for the first time. You'll see that the gameplay quality is obviously a little bit low, especially at the beginning, because I just didn't know what I was doing. But it does get better as the recording goes on, and eventually I'm kind of okay at the whole thing. So, yeah, that's something. And it does also show that there is a little bit of a learning curve to the game. And most of that learning curve comes from the controls, because the controls are a little bit weird here and there. I would also say that some of the movement mechanics at first use can feel quite janky and weird. Once you get used to them, they are actually fine. It's like there's nothing wrong with the movement or the way it feels or anything like that. It's just a little bit of a, yeah, a learning curve, as I say. So let's talk a little bit about the gameplay. What are you actually going to be doing when you play the game? So it's kind of going to be split into a few different activities. The first will be obviously doing the story. The story will consist of you watching cutscenes, going through somewhat linear missions within the open world, and I believe there's some like instanced dungeons as well a little bit later on, although none of those really exist in the demo from what I can tell. But nonetheless, the story so far has been super fun. I've really been enjoying it. I think the pacing is really good. You don't get stuck in cutscenes for too long. And whilst I would say the early game tutorializing is quite heavy, it doesn't really disturb from the gameplay all that much, really. Whilst I wouldn't say the story is like groundbreaking in any way, you're not going to be like playing this and then being like, oh my god, this is a masterpiece in storytelling. What it does do is it sets the scene really nicely and it takes you from A to B. It gives you a reason to be doing what you're doing, and what you're doing is fun. All of the characters I've met so far, whilst not groundbreaking in any way, have been interesting enough that I want to find out more about them. I can probably predict where some of them are going, as they do fall into the sort of somewhat stereotypical anime character personalities. But yeah, they're all pretty cool. I love the stylistic design on all of them, and I'm curious to go out on more missions with the various characters and see where all of that kind of stuff goes. Um, the demo kind of ends on a sort of like I guess kind of a cliffhanger. Like you're sort of just about to go and rescue the main group you're working with's leader from an enemy, basically. And as you show up, the demo ends basically, and you can't go any further. You just reload your save, and you can continue open world, like grinding, I guess. And yeah, I mean, I'm very curious to see where it goes. There's like a nice little montage of like cutscenes at the end of the demo as well that sort of teases you what's to come. And that looks pretty exciting. There's some cool enemy designs, and the story looks very dramatic. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm very much looking forward to it. If you're not doing the story, then what you're probably doing is exploring the open world. And I mean, you're kind of seeing a little bit of what the open world looks like in the gameplay in the background here. It's not necessarily the most pretty environment on the planet. And I will say, obviously, this is just the starting biome, and it seems as though there are other biomes as well. And I would say desert is like my least favorite biome usually in video games. So I'm not necessarily saying that the aesthetic is going to be bad or anything like that. And I mean, graphical fidelity is only half the battle, anyways. I think like the actual composition of the environment in this game is really nice. Like, I mean, even looking here, like seeing the big like towers of scrap and the wall that's protecting the city and stuff like that. like really really cool design. I think, yeah, as I say, the color palette they use is really really good. Um, and it makes me want to actually explore. It makes me want to go out and explore the map. And yeah, as I say, that you'll be doing a lot of that. You can go out and you can search for treasure chests. You can mine ore. You can find bosses in dungeon type cave systems. You can clear enemy outposts for supplies. You can hunt for. Did I say hunt for treasure chests? You can hunt for treasure chests. I'll say it twice maybe because you'll hunt for a lot of treasure chests. And yeah, as you're sort of fighting all the enemies and defeating the mechs and defeating the monsters out in the world, you'll be earning various upgrades for your own mech suit, and you can customize it quite a lot, to be honest with you, with all the stuff you find. As you're sort of exploring, you kind of like, as I say, you'll fight two types of enemies. They'll either be like the beasts that roam the land, or they'll be the mech pilots that are out, like the enemy faction. If you fight the mechs, you get pre-built parts drop off of them, and it's usually parts that they're using, so you can kind of tell what you're going to get dropped for you before you defeat the enemy. From what I can tell, it doesn't give you the choice of like everything they have. It's just sort of like a small selection, but yeah, it's a good way to sort of tell what you're getting. Whereas the beasts give you blueprints, which you can take to the forge and develop new parts there. Any piece that you get, any armor piece, you can apply it as a cosmetic as well, which is really nice. Or you can hide it completely so that your character is like doesn't even look like they're wearing armor, which is very strange to be honest with you. But I do like that it's an option. It could be cool just to sort of like have your character's face uncovered, maybe if you like the way your character looks. To help facilitate exploration in the open world, there are a number of side quests. These could be like escort a guy in a truck around the map for a little bit, or like defeat X number of this enemy, or go to this location and defeat this enemy, or collect a certain resource, or deliver a certain resource, or something like that. And these kind of just usher you around the map, just sort of like getting you to see every bit of it, as far as I can tell. They net you some okay rewards. They're nothing like crazy, but like if you need a boost in currency or whatever, the side quests are a good way to do that. They don't seem to provide like any crazy story. Like there is story to them, but there's nothing that I kind of like really cared about that much. It's more sort of like fetch questy, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I do think that it kind of it adds to the feeling of actually being this like almost like bounty hunter type character who's like going out and doing odd jobs as well for the community of the city and stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of cool. It adds to the immersion. I think that's probably the best way to put it. There's apparently also going to be an arena, as you're like kind of seeing in the background here. This is actually part of the story, but I believe you can enter into fights in this arena. I assume it's just like currency. Maybe you get parts as well. I don't know. But that is apparently a feature in the full game. You can do like arena battles, and I think the devs want to extend that to become PvP as well eventually, which could be very very interesting to see. So I'm kind of hoping that all works out for them, and it runs smoothly, and that yeah, it's not like completely imbalanced or broken or whatever. Speaking of multiplayer, there is 3-player co-op in the game, and it feels very drop in, drop out. You can kind of make lobbies with randoms or with your friends. You can make it private, of course, so it's just you and one friend or whatever. And you can tackle most of the game's stuff together, as far as I'm aware. I don't think there's much restriction for the most part, which is a really, really good idea. It's good because, like, obviously there's so much customization. Like, it'll be cool to see other people's mechs, even random people's mechs. So I look forward to trying that in the full game, whether it be with my friends or whether it be with, like, complete strangers. And that brings us nicely into talking about gameplay mechanics. So, like, what do you actually have at your disposal here? You've got a left weapon and a right weapon. You can have two on each side, I believe, and you can change between them on the fly in combat. You can also use your bare fists, but I don't know how effective that is. You have a shoulder weapon and you have an auxiliary thing, not necessarily a weapon. For example, my auxiliary thing, I had like a healing thing on my mech by the end of the demo, and that worked really, really well. It's like saved me a lot of resources. But I'm pretty sure you can get other stuff as well. I think there's like ammo extension stuff and things like that. There's a bunch of different weapon types to use. You can have like ranged weapons or close range weapons. You're mainly seeing me use swords in this, but you can go for like a full gun build if you want. If you do go gun build, you'll have to like manage your ammo and stuff like that. You can loot ammo off of mech wreckages and things like that. And there's also supply bases you can set up, which can refill your ammo and HP and stuff like that. So far, I feel like the melee is a little bit more useful than the ranged, but I maybe that will change as the game goes on. Maybe I just haven't fought enemies that require range yet. In terms of like movement, you obviously have like full aerial movement and stuff like that. You can only go so high, kind of thing. There is like an invisible ceiling; it will stop you from going super high. And different areas have certain limitations as well to stop you from like going over the top of mountains and things like that to get to late game areas early or whatever. And yeah, it feels quite natural and stuff like that, and like it's not oppressive or anything like that. You can, generally speaking, go kind of as high as you want. You've also got like a dash as well. The dash you've seen me do both on the floor and in the air. I'm doing it in the air right now in this footage. But you can also like sprint on the floor. And that uses up a little bit of your, it's called like femto energy, I believe. And that recovers over time. You can also get consumables that recover it. Separate to that, you have a dodge that's tied to a stamina meter, which is next to the femto meter. And that recharges even faster, so you can dodge quite regularly. You don't really have to worry too much about your stamina. As you customize your mech, it can be heavier or lighter depending on what parts you equip, and I believe that this affects things like your stamina and your femto and stuff like that, as well as obviously your HP and bits like that. And then obviously in the middle of the screen you've got your health bar. Different parts will obviously raise that HP higher and stuff like that. If you want to be a big tanky mech, you can, but it will sacrifice your speed. When your health hits 0, it takes away one of the little dots underneath your health bar, and it puts you into a sort of like a damaged state. And from there, any hit you take will take another one of those little pips off. And if you run out, you explode. That actually never happened to me the entire time I was playing, so I have absolutely no idea what happens if you do get self-destructed. I don't know if you get penalized or whether you just get respawned somewhere or what. The other thing that is really, really cool is when you're fighting the beasts, occasionally when you kill them, they will drop genetic code or genetic material. You can go back to a lab after looting this and use it to unlock passive skills and active skills as well that you can equip to your weapons. And doing this, if you do it too much, can mutate your character, so your character's physical appearance will actually change. It doesn't seem as though the appearance changes are coordinated with the type of genetic material that you pick up too much. Or at least I didn't notice that when my character mutated, he looked like the beast whose DNA I was using. It just sort of seems to be like different levels of mutation, I think. I might be wrong though. Like you only get a limited pool of things to hunt and take the genetic code of in the demo. So I could be wrong, and there could be like loads of visual customization type dealio with the mutation stuff. But yeah, you can unlock and stack passives that way, which increase your power. As I said before, there's like tons of different parts that you can loot and find and make to customize your mech. Some of these parts, like the torso pieces specifically, can actually have special things attached to them. So the two that I found in the demo, one of them is like an assault type torso, which had these like extra guns on it that you could like pull out. So you're shooting just like loads of bullets at the enemy like all at once. It was like kind of crazy. It seemed kind of OP actually, and it spent my femto meter to use those bullets, but it wasn't like excessive amounts of it. So I kind of just had it turned on most of the time, and it was dealing like tons of damage. I don't have any footage of it unfortunately, but yeah, it was really really good piece of equipment. The other one I found was a wing version of a torso. So it was like, say, like the torso I currently have equipped. It was that, but it was like a version of it that had wings on the back. And activating those wings again drains your femto, but it gives you like double, well, not double movement speed, but probably close to be honest with you. It makes you go really fast. And I assume there are other ones. I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a shield one or something like that, or like a HP regeneration one, or yeah, I don't know. The sky's the limit, really, and they could probably, add more stuff post launch. I'm sure they will. Same with weapon types as well. I'm sure they could keep adding more stuff. Yeah, I'm super excited to see like the scope of this game when it comes out. I don't know exactly how many biomes there are, but the desert biome alone looked pretty big, and the enemies that are within it were like varied enough that I didn't really get bored that quickly. Like after 6 hours of like roaming around, I will say it did get a bit repetitive, but I will full on just have to admit that I was just playing for too long, to be honest with you. Like, I shouldn't have been playing like this demo for as long as I did. I was just having fun. It was very, I don't know, there's something about like going out, looting new parts, trying to like complete an armor set or whatever so you can have the full visual customization. Yeah, just like super fun. You'll notice in the background this like particular boss fight. I'm breaking bits off of the monster. If I hit his head enough, the armor actually cracks, and he's got like a cool like weak spot that takes like almost double damage, which is like super cool. Makes the fight go very very quickly. And I'm assuming a lot of the other bosses will have this same thing. You saw me sort of have a little go at the gigantic field boss earlier on in the middle of the desert as well. That boss has bits that you can break off of it. I can't remember if I said this in this recording or whether it was in a different take that I had to delete because of noise, but I did actually fight that giant mech again off camera, and I defeated it. It took me about maybe 20 minutes, maybe even half an hour, because its health bar was just like huge. And I got rewarded with a med kit for it, which I was just so annoyed about. But I'm kind of hoping that that was like a demo limitation, and that if I fought it in the full game, it would actually give me like a part or something. Because it was a really cool fight, and it was just like long. It was just a very long fight because I was so underleveled for it, I think. But yeah, I'm kind of approaching the end of like the stuff that I have to sort of say about this, to be honest with you. I'm just trying to think of sort of like random things to like say about the game, like sort of like little additional details. One thing that I did actually forget to mention, you can ride horses in this game. Freaking weird. I don't know why that's a thing, but yeah, you can ride horses. I mean, you're in a literal mech that can travel like super fast, like faster than the horse, as far as I can tell. So I don't know why you would, but yeah, if you want to ride a horse, you can ride a horse. I don't know whether you can customize them or like actually like get a ranch or something to like have like a little horse simulator game going on in the background, but Who knows? Who knows? Um, yeah, as I say, we're sort of approaching the point now where we are coming to the end of the content that the demo actually had. I did the remainder of all the side quests off camera, and the quest that comes after this is just the beginning of the quest that is only available in the full game. You literally just go to a destination and then it just ends the demo basically. There's like tons of collectibles to find. You can get these like little like echo recording things. Not like echo recording. It's like a recording device, and you can like follow it to its source. You have to like piece together where on the map it is. I've noticed a number of these have shown up in my inventory, and the picture from the map is off of the current map. So like it's obviously in an area that isn't available in the demo, which is super annoying. There was one that was like literally on the edge of the playable area, and I couldn't get it because it was the edge of the demo area. But I could like see it. I could literally see it. I just couldn't touch it. See me using the bow here and seeing the other field boss as well. The bow is I thought it was terrible, but I think the aiming's a little bit clunky in this when you actually have to proper free aim. So yeah, I don't know if I'd recommend the bow. I'm sure there'll be people out there who are amazing with it, but yeah, I didn't have a good time with that one. I think maybe I will sign off at this point, I guess. Yeah, all in all, the impressions of the demo, like, really, really strong. I really enjoyed it. I still have the urge to go back and play more of it, even though I know there is literally nothing else I can unlock. Which is it's a rarity that I have that feeling, to be honest with you, towards games, especially demos as well. So that's always a really, really good sign, and I'm excited to sort of see the full scale of the full game. In terms of like stuff I've unlocked by playing the demo, it said I'd unlocked about 17-18% of the customizable parts that you can get for the mech, so that's about how much is contained within the demo, and that was like, as I say, 6 hours. So, and I really was like actually trying to grind out those parts as well. So like, you know, if I had have just focused on quests or whatever, I probably wouldn't have gotten as much as I did. So, you know, it sort of gives you a bit of an idea of like sort of the added time that you'll get from the game for searching for all the parts and stuff like that. The weapons I had even less of for some of them, so like I'm sure there's tons of weapons that I've yet to discover. I don't know about weapon types. I don't know whether more will be added or whether there are more I've been missing. I wouldn't be surprised though, because like things like the bow and there's like this like fist weapon, they are like only earned through like crafting or like quest completion or like buying them from a very specific menu kind of thing. So yeah, I'm sure there's a ton of stuff that I'm missing, like, still. And yeah, just super excited. I want to see if like the mech designs get more varied as well, because I mean, obviously they're all very humanoid at the moment. I'm wondering if they'll add any more wacky stuff to it, kind of like Armored Core, where you can get like you know, multi-legged mechs and stuff like that. I know you can get giant mechs in the full game, like you can call in like these like massive versions of the armor that you've got. So I'm looking forward to experimenting with that. But yeah, all in all, like generally really, really good first impressions. I mean, I pre-ordered the game, like that's to the extent that I was excited about it. So yeah, I think you know, maybe I'll do a stream of it when it comes out. I don't know, I might not, but yeah, we'll see. I don't know. This might be one that I want to do off camera. Either way, I'm going to enjoy playing it, and I hope that you know, some of you guys do too. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Farewell.